Hey, parents and teachers, what's up? It's me, Seth with SethPerla.com. I hope you're having a great day. I'm here to talk a little bit today about anxiety. And I'm going to talk specifically about anxiety in a little bit of a different way because I think that we as a culture get confused as to what anxiety is. So I want to, in this video, take a moment to differentiate between what anxiety is or isn't in terms of the discussions that you might be having with your spouse or other teachers and stuff like that. So, my name is Seth with SethPerla.com. I'm an executive function coach based in Boulder, Colorado. And I help struggling students navigate this thing called education. And we hear a lot about students with anxiety right now. And it is really a really important topic because what happens when somebody really has anxiety is that it can be debilitating. It can hold them back in life. And what we are doing as parents and educators is we're trying to help our children to grow up in this world to have a fantastic life, right? So if there is something that is potentially debilitating and we can do anything about it to be of service to them and help them navigate whatever it is, and in this case, anxiety, then we want to do everything we can. So one of the first things I want to mention in this video is that I have struggled with legitimate, real anxiety in my life. I'll mention that in a minute. But the reason that I mention it is that when I went through that period of time for me, one thing that became very apparent to me is that there were many people who I might be discussing it with who have never experienced real anxiety like that. So their ability to understand what it was like, it was really hard for them. I remember a lot of people being like, well, just don't worry about it. Why are you letting it bother you? Why is your head going there? And so I want to say that at the outset that if you're somebody who has never experienced it, I want you to understand it as something that somebody can't just turn on and off like a light switch. So imagine one time when you had strep throat, or when you had the flu, or when you had a horrible cold, or a horrible headache, or a horrible backache, or neck ache. Or I want you to remember back to one of those times when you were experiencing something like that. And imagine if somebody said to you, "Oh, well, just turn off your headache, or just turn off the flu, just stop." And that's what it's like for people who are struggling with anxiety. You can't just turn it off. So now, what I said is I want to differentiate between what is and isn't anxiety. Everybody has anxiety or anxious feelings at times. Now, I just said for somebody who it may sound like I'm contradicting myself because I said for those who haven't experienced anxiety like this. Well, everybody's had parts of anxiety, meaning if you almost get in a car accident, somebody almost hits you, they honk, and you go like, whoa, what's going on? You figure it out, you move on, everything's okay. Your body just went through anxiety. Your nervous system just went into an anxious state. So what happened is that your nervous system perceived that there was a threat, and in this case there was a real threat. You almost had a car accident, or if a dog is chasing you and it starts barking at you and you didn't see it and you notice, oh, there's a dog right there, it looks really mean. We have experiences where our nervous system will say, oh, this might be a threat. And our nervous system prepares. And then we're able to say, oh, okay, that seems scary. That dog seems scary, or that was almost a car accident, or, I just stubbed my toe. It's okay. Our nervous system, once it senses that things are okay, it re-regulates. And what happens with somebody who has what I'm called, for lack of a better term at this point, who has true anxiety or anxiety attacks or panic attacks, for somebody who is experiencing that, they're having high levels of anxiety where excuse me, sorry about that, where they're feeling in their body like they are being threatened, like there is a threat, like they are unsafe. Their nervous system is preparing for that. They're dipping in and out of fight, flight, or freeze. Their adrenals are sending adrenaline to the heart. They're having a physical experience. So that's I wanted to really differentiate that there are some people that have like what you would call normal anxiety, and when I'm, for lack of a better word with the word normal, what I mean by normal anxiety is when something really scary happens, something catches them off guard, their nervous system is ready, they're like, oh my gosh, is this a threat? And then they can re-regulate after it's not a threat. That is somebody that's normal. That's not what we're talking about here. What we want to be aware of, whether you, as the parent or teacher or adult who works with kids, whether you have experienced it or not, whether you have experienced anxiety attacks and panic attacks or not. So, for all adults watching, what we want to be aware of is the student that we're working with dealing with real anxiety, what I'm terming real anxiety attacks and such, or are they just occasionally having anxiety? Because it's important to differentiate. And one of the problems with this is that we can't see necessarily anxiety. So the more attuned, the more you as the parent or teacher or therapist, the more we learn to attune, the more we learn to co-regulate, the more we learn to notice somebody else's nervous system above the story. We're noticing what's going on with their nervous system. The better and more skilled we become at being able to attune on that sort of a level, the better we're going to be able to help the kid. Because on the one hand, we're going to be able to co-regulate in our nervous system, and we're going to be able to take our nervous system as an adult and stabilize our nervous system, be in an emotionally regulated state so that we can co-regulate with their nervous system and tell the child's nervous system, hey, you are safe. I'm not telling you with words. I'm telling you with my nervous system. We are safe. I'm here for you. We're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. So, on the one hand, the more we know about it, the better we can help them in terms of that. But also, the better we can help them when we can co regulate and attune and notice what's going on with them by reflecting back to them and saying, hey, I notice you look a little tense. Are you a little anxious? And help them explore with words. You know, what is the anxiety? What's going on in your body? What's going on in your thoughts? What is the story behind this? How can we move through this? You know, you do not have to. We don't have to stay stuck living like this. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to turn around. For me, it took 3 years to turn around my panic attacks and anxiety disorder. I had been in a coma for 10 days, and I came out of the coma, and I didn't know what anxiety or panic was, and I started having these panic attacks that were related to that experience. So it took me a long time to reteach my thoughts and to reteach my nervous system that, hey, we're safe. We're, my nervous system doesn't have to be ready for a threat. It's not in an unsafe state. Because when we are in a lot of panic and anxiety, we are constantly sort of on alert. It's like we're a guard in a guard tower, constantly looking out for a threat. And we don't need to be like that all the time. But my nervous system didn't know that. So it was almost as if it was stuck in this guarded place. And that's sort of what panic felt like to me. Like I was always on guard with anxiety of that something bad's going to happen. So anyhow, that's about it. I guess the other thing that I want to say is I think that a lot of people, in my experience, that are experiencing true anxiety don't even know that that's what it is or that that's what it's called. It can become so normalized that somebody thinks that everybody's just going through that, and we've learned to adapt. But we do not have to live in that state of constant anxiety, and it's obviously not good for us. So anyhow, just wanted to shed a little bit of light on that. Again, my name is Seth with SethPerlo.com. I'm an executive function coach based out of Boulder, Colorado, and I help students navigate this thing called education. Anxiety is absolutely a big thing that a very, very, very serious thing that a lot of our students are experiencing that can really negatively impact their ability to execute and ultimately their ability to be able to do what they want in life. It can really interfere. So we want to work with that and really take it very seriously because it is. So anyhow, take care. I will see you next Sunday.